It's a historic week for LSU football, not necessarily in the vein of 2019 on the positive side, but a coaching search to replace Ed Ogeron, who's finishing up his LSU career. And of course, the final game in Death Valley for 2021, which has bowl eligibility on the line. And we've got Noah Long on the line as well to talk it up. Noah, how you doing today? Let's talk about the matchup against Texas A&M first and foremost. I will ask this: is it a rivalry?
I'd say it's starting to kind of form into a rivalry. After the 7 overtime game, it really kind of started the rivalry between the fan bases. I wouldn't say it's a traditional rivalry yet. That's more of Alabama, Auburn, or your Georgia, Florida. But LSU, Texas A&M it's a good two quality programs playing every year at the end of the season. So I'd say it could turn into a big rivalry, but yeah, there is some bragging rights that could go around.
Yeah, the SEC made its decision way back in 1992 when Arkansas joined the conference to pair up Arkansas and LSU for that final game on Thanksgiving weekend, typically on Friday. And then once Missouri and Texas A&M joined in 2012, then they wanted to pair up Arkansas and Mizzou and Texas A&M and LSU. So it's kind of a forced rivalry, but geographically it obviously makes sense, and they play in the same SEC Western Division and pretty much on the same tier in regards to quality of program. In terms of the matchup, LSU's less than a touchdown underdog at home, so Vegas is giving them a fighting shot.
Yeah, I think our defense will definitely keep us in it. And as you've seen, they played really well against Arkansas, who lit up Alabama a week later. And then we held Bama to a pretty respectable 20 points. So, yeah, I think our defense can keep us in it, but the offense is just not right this year. I don't see that changing. So, it's probably going to be really hard for LSU to pull off a win. You'll need some turnovers, you'll need some special teams plays to really get the W this weekend. But I expect the crowd to be pretty on fire just because it's Coach O's last game, and then the week preceding next week we'll most likely have a new head coach. So it's pretty exciting down here.
Please like the video, share these videos out on social media. If you enjoy them, others will as well. And subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football, LSU, Texas A&M, Saturday night in Death Valley. The Tigers needed for bowl eligibility. Texas A&M wants to win 10 games and needs to do that with this win and a bowl game appearance. I would be the last person in the world to try to determine motivation, whether it's going to go in a good way or a negative way. You mentioned the crowd. I don't question Death Valley being fired up for this one. In regards to the players' motivation, I could see this one going one of two ways. And again, I'm not going to predict which one of the two, but it's pretty easy to see a team that's accustomed to much more playing out the string, just wrapping up a season, guys thinking about the offseason, thinking about the NFL, thinking about whatever, except for Texas A&M on Saturday night. Or on the other hand, yes, a team that's going to fight, scratch, claw because of a number of reasons. Their head coach, trying to get him out on a winning note, trying to maintain a home winning streak against Texas A&M, bowl eligibility, not wanting to be a team that in LSU history that's not reaching a bowl game, just extending the season and wanting to play in a bowl game for the prestige factor of it. A lot of things that could be a motivational factor for LSU one way or the other.
Yeah, I think most of the players who are playing right now are young guys because a lot of our veteran guys have gotten hurt. So I think the NFL and the motivational factors of them, most of those guys are gone or out of the picture for this game. And they've been playing pretty tough to finish out the season. I think they're pretty motivated because a lot of these guys have a lot to gain. I mean, you look at somebody like Damone Clark, he was being trashed on every social media platform at the beginning of the year against UCLA because of his play last season and the UCLA game. But now, as the season's gone on, he's Buck's final semifinalist or a finalist. So He's definitely been a leader in the locker room to really motivate guys, and he's shown that he's definitely motivated. So I think we should be up for this one. It should be a pretty decently motivated LSU team, but it's definitely not a case of last year where most of the season we were pretty much just getting blown out. I don't see us getting blown out because we really haven't all year, but I don't it's going to be hard to win this game just because of how many injuries we have and the offensive production is just not what it needs to be this year.
Talking LSU, we've got Noah Long on the line. Tigers take on Texas A&M Saturday night. And Eli Ricks and Derek Stingley entering this season formed the best, what maybe most people consider the best cornerback tandem in college football. Probably neither one of them back for 2022. We know for sure Eli Ricks after entering the transfer portal this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge loss for LSU because you're starting to really get thin at the defensive back position, and then you add in the fact that we're losing probably the best corner in the country in that room, and we only have I think one cornerback committed right now in the class of 22. So it's going to be really tough for LSU to fill that void. But a lot of people have been speculating on that for the past year that he would want to go to Ohio State, in which, yes, they are winning. But me, as a biased LSU fan, I look at it a little bit different. He's already probably going to be a first round pick next year. He's definitely projected a first round pick next year. And then to go to Ohio State, who has the 95th passing defense in the country. LSU's isn't much better, but you could make a case for us being a lot better on that side of the football next year. So obviously he wants to win, and we're not having the best year. And next year is definitely a question mark because of the last two seasons. But yeah, it's gonna be a really big loss for LSU. Eli Ricks, one of the best players to ever come through here.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a big believer in total defense statistics or passing yards given up, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's an indicator. I know Ohio State doesn't have the 95th best passing defense in the country. But yeah, a debate for another time. But certainly, yeah, moving on to Ohio State, he's most likely going to play at a better program next year.
And compete.
But regardless of where he plays, he's a first round type talent.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about how LSU could really replace a guy like him, and I think we're really going to have to really go look in the portal. Just like Eli Ricks, there's going to be other really good guys in the portal. So I think LSU is going to work really hard to replace him with a similar type of number one guy to play on the outside in the portal.
Got Noah Long on the line to talk LSU, taking on the Aggies on Saturday night to conclude 2021, trying to get to bowl eligibility status at 6-6. All right. The big question is who's going to be the next head coach? We see Florida just releasing Dan Mullen a few days ago, apparently on the heels of Billy Napier. So they're making a move apparently immediately. USC, LSU at the top of the board in regards to the rest of the country.
Yeah, with LSU, it's really a guessing game at this point. People just keep throwing out names and hoping it sticks. For me, two or three guys really make sense up until this point. I mean, you've seen Mel Tucker and James Franklin get big contracts, and there's still some other guys out there. And Dave Aranda makes a lot of sense because, I mean, he was our defensive coordinator a couple years ago. He's beaten Lincoln Riley a couple weeks ago. He's gotten Baylor completely turned around from last season. So he looks like somebody that would make sense. And from the LSU side of things, a lot of people have been hyping up the Lincoln Riley stuff. And it could be true, it could be not. I guess we'll really see. There's no official evidence that he's linked with LSU. People have said he's gotten offered $12 million over 8 years, but we really don't know. So it's going to be a waiting game. And then the third guy is Billy Napier. He's down the road, but he's starting to trend towards Florida, and it really looks like he's going there. So for LSU fans, it's really a guessing game and a wait and see. If I think a big indicator will probably be Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. If Oklahoma loses that game, things could start to really pick up on Lincoln Riley, and he could be your head coach in the next few days. But we don't really know what's going on with that, so we're kind of just going to have to wait and see.
Who's your preference?
I prefer Lincoln Riley, but I will be very happy with Dave Aranda.
All right. Texas A&M in Death Valley Saturday night. Aggies and Tigers. Texas A&M has yet to win in Death Valley since they joined the SEC in 2012. And LSU trying to get to bowl eligibility at 6-6. Noah, we appreciate you stopping by. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we will catch up with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.